Okay, drugs acting on metabolic process. Today I want to teach you on this topic. First of all, let me give you uh, definition for metabolic process. Metabolic process is a metabolic process. Metabolic process is a biological process in which the food break down into smaller units and finally released energy from that, and the released energy can be used in the next step and synthesized some macromolecules like proteins, carbohydrates, lipids, nucleic acids. Such kind of important essential biomolecules will be synthesized by using the energy which were released in catabolic process. So basically metabolic process can be combined of two processes. One is catabolic process, another one is anabolic process. In catabolic process, the food can be converted into energy. Okay, the food converted into energy with the help of some important enzymes. And in the anabolic process, the energy which are formed in catabolic process can be used to synthesize large macromolecules like proteins, nucleic acids, lipids, and carbohydrates. Okay, those two kinds of processes combined together, and they can be considered as metabolic process. Metabolic process is a biological process in which food converted into energy, and energy, with that energy it can synthesize some important essential molecules. That's what happened in the cells. Okay, so today I want to especially focus on bacterial cell. Okay, bacteria. First of all, bacteria. Bacteria is a single cell microorganism. Single cell microorganism. Single cell microorganism, and it has very simple cell structure. If you compare with the animals and human beings, the bacterial cell structure is very simple. It has very simple structure in its structure. Okay, so I will draw that bacterial cell. So all the organelles inside the cell will be covered by plasma membrane. Okay, this is the plasma membrane. Inside you have bacteria cell have genetic material, single strand genetic material, and enzymes and ribosomes and cytoplasm inside. Okay, so these plasma membrane and all the cell organelles covered, protected with the cell wall. Okay, this is the specific structure which you will not find in human or animal cells. Okay, this is the cell wall structure. The cell wall structure, it has some thickness. It depends upon the bacterial, whether it is gram negative bacteria and gram positive bacteria. This is the cell wall. It is very important cell structure of bacterial cell because it protects from the atmosphere and osmotic pressure and okay all the inside organelles and cell. Okay, so this is the cell wall in bacterial cell. Here I want to explain you one thing. This cell wall, based on the cell wall size, thickness, you can identify gram negative bacteria and gram positive bacteria. In the case of gram positive bacteria, the cell wall size is more compared to gram negative bacteria. Approximately 20 to 40 nanometers length or the width of the cell wall in gram positive bacteria, whereas in the case of gram negative bacteria, the cell wall length, the cell wall width is about 5 to 7 nanometers. So in the case of gram positive bacteria, the cell wall is very thick because it is 20 to 40 nanometers. In the case of gram negative bacteria, the cell wall is very thin. It would be 5 to 7 nanometers. Okay, due to this cell wall width, the thickness and thinness, okay, so it absorbs purple dye. Okay, so if you dip bacteria cell into purple dye and wash with acetone, so if the purple dye or purple color exists after washing with acetone, then those bacterial cell consider as gram positive bacteria. If the purple color removes after washing with acetone, then that bacteria is considered gram negative bacteria. Okay, so two kinds of bacteria are there: gram positive bacteria, gram negative bacteria. So the only difference in gram positive and gram negative bacteria, the size of cell wall. Okay, the another difference, in gram negative bacteria you have outer membrane. Okay, you have outer membrane. This is the outer membrane. This outer membrane exists in the case of gram negative bacteria, but in the case of gram positive bacteria, no outer membrane. Okay, because the cell wall size is thick in gram positive bacteria, therefore it won't need this another membrane, right, outer membrane. So this is the genetic material, and this is outer membrane. This is cell wall, and this is plasma membrane. Okay, these are the ribosomes, and inside the plasma membrane you have cytoplasm. Okay, and these are the enzymes. Okay, this is the simple bacterial cell structure. So if you understand the bacterial cell structure, it is very what can I say, it is very easy to design drug to kill the bacteria cells in bacterial diseases. Okay, so already lot of research has done on bacterial cell, and as well as they designed some drugs which can target bacterial cell parts. Okay, I'll tell you those examples broadly, right? Quinolines, and aminoacridins, can target bacterial cell genetic material. And another one is rifamycin. Rifamycin. Rifamycin targets genetic material in the bacterial cell. Okay, these are the drugs, successful drugs already existed in the market. And enzymes, to target enzymes in the bacterial cell, the best drugs are sulfonamides. Sulfonamides. Okay, sulfonamides. To target cell wall in the bacteria, penicillin works effectively. Penicillin, cephalosporins. Cephalosporins. And to target plasma membrane in the bacteria, polyoxymes. Okay, polyoxymes. These are the drugs which effectively targets plasma membrane in the bacteria. And the ribosomes can be targeted by streptomycin. And tetracyclines. Streptomycin and tetracyclines. Okay, almost all there are different drugs which can target different targets in the bacterial cell. Okay, so if you want to target the bacterial genetic material, so these are the effective drugs, quinolines and aminoacridins and rifamycin. So they can target the genetic material in the bacterial cell exclusively. And sulfonamides, they can target enzymes in the bacteria. And penicillin and cephalosporins, they can target the cell wall in bacterial cell. So it interact with the cell wall and destroy the synthesis of cell wall. So without cell wall, bacteria will not exist, will not survive. Therefore, the bacterial growth and divisions, all bacterial will be killed with these drugs. And polyoxymes targets the plasma membrane, which is important, and which covers and protect all the inside cell material. And ribosomes can be targeted with streptomycin and tetracycline drugs. Okay, so these are the different kinds of drugs which can target different parts in the bacterial cell. So you should have this broad understanding about bacterial cell, and as well as what kind of drugs and what kind of chemical structure drugs targets different parts in the bacterial cell. That will give you a lot of understanding, and also it gives you the best way to design new drugs for bacterial infections. Okay, so all these drugs acts on the bacterial cell different parts. Therefore, these drugs can be considered as antibacterial drugs, because these drugs used to treat bacterial infections. Okay, therefore these drugs can be called as antibacterial drugs. Okay, antibacterial drugs. I hope you understand this bacterial cell and different kinds of drugs which are already discovered by scientists. Okay, so today in this topic, drugs acting on metabolic process, I am going to give you one best example, sulfonamides, in this class. Sulfonamides are very important antibacterial drugs. Initially they used sulfonamides to treat bacterial infections. Okay, the sulfonamide structure is very simple structure. So this is the sulfonamide. Okay, so this is the sulfonamide basic skeleton structure. Okay, sulfonamides discovered or invented in about 1970s, right? 1970s. Sorry, 19 maybe 1935, I think. In 1935, the sulfonamides discovered initially. Okay. Actually, the story is very funny, and the scientists try to discover something, but in their experiment they found out it is very effective against bacterial infections. So that's how they discovered sulfonamides, and they used sulfonamides as antibacterial drug to treat. So I want to explain you how sulfonamide act as antibacterial drug. So what is the mechanism of action of sulfonamide? I want to explain you that. So sulfonamide is very simple structure. So if you want to talk about structure activity relationship of sulfonamide, so lot of library compounds in solid phase synthesis they designed and synthesized so many number of similar structures by altering just simple hydrogens and substitutions. They altering by them, and they tried different structure by taking this as lead molecule, and in their structure activity relationship they found out that this NH2 group is very important in the activity of antibacterial drug as antibacterial drug, this NH2. So they try to substitute this NH2 with different acyl groups and different substitutions. They found that the activity is lost. Okay. One more thing, they substituted this NH2 with acyl group. That drug act as prodrug. They found that it act as prodrug. Prodrug means it is not considered as a drug initially outside. Once it enter into the that activity, it won't have that activity, antibacterial activity with that substitution. Once it enter into the body and reached the target place, in the target place the acyl protection will be removed. The acyl protection will be removed, so NH2 will become free. That's how it can act as a drug. Okay, so outside until it reaches the target, it will not act as a drug, but after removal of that acyl group, it acts as a drug. So that is the prodrug concept you need to understand. Okay, so NH2 can be NH2 is very essential in this activity, and also the aromatic ring also very essential in the sulfonamides. And the sulfonamide groups, the only place they found out that only this R prime substitution can be changed in different ways. Okay, so all these are important structures, activity relationship. Okay, so NH2 important in this activity, this aromatic ring important, and this amide, sulfonamide, this sulfur and this amide, the only place they were able to change is the R prime, and that's how they try to improve the activity of sulfonamides. So this is about sulfonamides structure activity relationship. You need to know that in structure activity relationship we took a lead molecule which has already very good activity against some a disease or a drug or a target, and by taking that lead molecule, so you have to change some modifications in that lead molecule, and you can change some substitutions, you can change that aromatic rings, and you can change little bit structures and substitutions in that. So with that you can study which has the more activity. Then you will study biological activity. Then if you find out the more active compound, that is going to go for clinical trials and the remaining processes. Okay, so the importance of structure activity relationship is that we take lead molecule which is already established to particular activity, and we can modify that structure, basic skeleton structure, with different substitutions and additions and removals. So finally you will synthesize a library of compounds on that lead molecule. So finally we can test the biological activity of all those compounds, analogs. So in that biological activity, whatever shows the best activity, the more activity, we can take that as a we can proceed further in drug discovery with that molecule. Okay, because we need to study clinical trials of the drug. It is not enough to know that it has more activity. We should also check the side effects of the drug. Okay, and in vitro and in vivo studies we need to carry out. Okay, then only finally after clinical trials, after much time, okay, that if it is good in clinical trials, then it can be approved by WHO, so that it can be released as a drug in the market. Okay, that is the process. That is the process takes place in drug discovery. Okay. So I'm going to I'm going to explain you about sulfonamides as antibacterial agents, and also I'm trying to give you the mechanism of action, how it interact with the bacterial cell and how it destroy, how it inhibit the bacterial growth and division, so that you can understand very well. Okay, so in metabolic process, drugs acting on metabolic process. Okay, in bacterial cell what happens, bacterial cell try to synthesize tetrahydrofolate, which is enzyme cofactor and precursor of folic acid. Okay, and which is useful to synthesize pyrimidine bases in DNA synthesis. Okay, try to understand. Okay, what happens in bacterial cell? In bacterial cell, synthesize tetrahydrofolate, which is enzyme cofactor, and also enzyme cofactor and also precursor of folic acid. Okay, so what is the use of tetrahydrofolate in bacterial cell? Because bacterial cell tetrahydrofolate provides in the bacterial cell, what it provides? pyrimidine synthesis of pyrimidine base units, pyrimidine base bases, pyrimidine bases for DNA synthesis. If bacterial cell want to synthesize DNA, it needs pyrimidine bases. So pyrimidine bases synthesis can be carried out with the help of tetrahydrofolate, which acts as an enzyme cofactor and also precursor of folic acid. Okay, so this is tetrahydrofolate synthesized in the bacterial cell. It is an enzymatic reaction. Okay, it is an enzymatic reaction. Tetrahydrofolate synthesized in bacterial cell with the help of dihydroperrate synthetase enzyme. Dihydroperrate synthetase enzyme. Okay, so that is the useful enzyme which catalyze the reaction of synthesis of tetrahydrofolate in bacterial cell. Okay, so this is the metabolic process occurs in bacterial cell. What happens in bacterial cell? First, I'll write the scheme so that you can understand very well. In bacterial cell, what happens? This is the phosphate. This is the phosphate. Okay. So this is the phosphate. Oxygen, P double bond O, P double bond O, and P. Okay, so this is the dihydrophosphate. This is the starting material. So this can converted into so here dihydroperrate synthetase. So that is the enzyme involves as a catalyst in this reaction, and it needs PABA, para aminobenzoic acid, as the substrate in this reaction. Okay. Hmm. So what happens here? This phosphate will go away. COOH. Okay. So this is dihydroterate. Terate. Okay. This dihydroterate. Next, what happens in the presence of dihydrofolate reductase. Folate reductase. So in the next step, what happens? Glutamic acid. So this is the glutamic acid. So glutamic acid coupled with that, so forms C double bond O and NH, COH, H, COH. So it couples to that. Okay. This glutamic acid coupled here and forms, this is the dihydropolate. Dihydropolate. Okay. This dihydropolate, in the presence of dihydropolate reductase. This is one of the another enzyme involves in this reaction. Dihydropolate reductase